주체 107.
The news came with the fanfare North Korea saves for the most important moments. A suspension of nuclear and missile tests and the closing of a nuclear test site. 14 ballistic missile tests since President Trump took office, each one inching the world closer to war. Now, Kim Jong-Un says those provocations are a thing of the past, with a major caveat. The announcement promising the suspension will continue as long as there's no nuclear threat and provocation against the North. And no mention that North Korea has any intention of giving up its nuclear weapons, which experts say now number up to 20. Even so, the announcement was welcomed around the world. President Trump tweeting, the European Union and Britain saying it's a positive step, and praise from South Korea, whose president will have his own summit with Kim next week. Moon Jae-in floating the possibility of a peace treaty with the North, a dramatic shift for two countries officially still at war. In the coming days, the spotlight will be turned right here, one of the most heavily fortified and dangerous borders in the world. Preparations already underway at Peace House in the demilitarized zone where Kim and Moon will meet next Friday.
We'll have to see what the North Koreans are asking for, and we'll have to see whether they're interested in denuclearization.
An end to the war would be a dream come true for Park Chung-soo, who fled North Korea when she was a young girl just after the war. Do you trust Kim Jong-un to negotiate for peace?
믿어야지 뭐.
We have to trust him, she says. The generation has changed. Pyongyang has broken nearly every promise made to the international community, and here there's hope, but also skepticism that this time's any different. It's unclear whether Kim Jong-un would consider giving up his arsenal in exchange for the right concessions, or whether this is just a ploy to buy more time and economic relief.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.